Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. It is of course the breaking news that we have all been waiting for, the confirmation, the official announcement that Tottenham have confirmed that Paulo Fonseca is their new manager. We're going to be talking all about their new manager with Paulo Fonseca. We're going to be talking about if this is a good or bad appointment for Spurs, his past, where he's been at beforehand, all things like that about this breaking news story. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe to go new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get back to talking about Paulo Fonseca, who has been confirmed as the new manager of Tottenham Hotspur. The news broke last Wednesday that Paulo Fonseca had emerged as a frontrunner for the Spurs job and that talks were advancing very swiftly. Of course, Spurs had been linked with a few names in the past, including Ajax manager Erik ten Hag, Antonio Conte, of course, a sensational return from Mauricio Pochettino. Rafa Benitez was also floated around in there as well. Julian Nagelsmann was also another name, but it is Paulo Fonseca who is the man that Tottenham have seen fit to carry the club forward, as confirmed today. Fonseca has previously been in charge of the likes of Porto, Braga, Shakhtar Donetsk, and more recently, of course, Italian side Roma, but it was with the Ukrainian side Shakhtar in which he found the majority of his success, winning the league and cup double in each of his 3 seasons in charge of the club, before of course he made the jump to Italy to manage Roma, where he led them to a 7th place finish last season in Serie A, as well as guide them to the Europa League semi-final, where of course they were well beaten by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's Manchester United. Fonseca, from all things considered, from what I've also read and stuff, he seems to be a manager with an intent on playing attacking football. He showed that a little bit at Roma and at Shakhtar and wherever he's been, that his philosophy does appear to be playing some sort of style of attacking football and does look to control games where possible whilst always being on the front foot. I've seen a number of articles and people say that he's a good man manager who carries himself well as being well spoken, holds a good footballing and moral status, that kind of thing. So as far as being a person goes and being a manager, he seems quite well respected in them kind of attributes and them kind of aspects. It's been said that Tottenham's new sporting director, Fabio Paratici, is a big fan of his, but it will be interesting to see how these two work together given the seemingly obvious financial limitations as of right now at the club. Paratici was said to be a major fan and a major reason why Fonseca was appointed the manager of Tottenham. So them two will obviously be looking forward to working together at Spurs. The major downside to this man's managerial game is seemingly, other than not being a high profile manager or possibly not even going to have the potential to go on and become a high quality top class manager, all things considered and with all due respect of course, he seems to have a habit and has developed a habit, definitely a Roma, of losing top level fixtures. When Roma played the likes of Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus and Napoli this season, they failed to win a single game out of them games, especially against them big sides in Serie A. So, if I'm allowed to get one piece of banter in on this video, he should have no problem fitting into Spurs in that respect. Am I right? Am I right? High five. High five. Okay, we'll move on. Look, overall, joking aside, and like I said in the previous video, look at this from all aspects. This isn't the most exciting managerial appointment that Spurs wanted to make and in the end have made. Spurs, when you consider that a few weeks ago, a few months ago, even following on from Jose Mourinho's sacking to Ryan Mason being interim manager and then obviously leaving that kind of position, they were linked with a number of high-profile names, including the likes of Ajax manager Erik ten Hag, Julian Nagelsmann, then of RB Leipzig, of course, soon to now be of Bayern Munich, a sensational return from Maurizio Pochettino, now of PSG, and of course the now unemployed, as of right now, Antonio Conte. Incredible speculation that brought of the possibility of Antonio Conte, a notorious winner, going to a team like Tottenham. They would all be great appointments in their own way, especially the likes of Conte, who, like I say, is a natural winner, but they all would have been great appointments, real statement makers, blockbuster appointments and announcements for a club like Spurs to lay down a marker, a signal, a symbol of intent, a symbol of where this club is heading in the future. This name doesn't quite live up to those expectations. This name doesn't have the same level of buzz and excitement that Spurs fans probably wanted. And, you know, from what I've seen, Spurs fans have a little bit of a right to feel a little disappointed, a little underwhelmed by this news. And from what I've seen on social media, and from the Spurs fans that I know and have spoken to, they aren't exactly too happy about this managerial appointment either. But I would love to know, I would actually love to know if there is actually any Spurs fans out there that are happy or even slightly optimistic about this choice of manager. So get in the comments section down below, Spurs fans, if you are actually optimistic about Paulo Fonseca becoming your new manager. If you want to know a couple of managerial stories about this guy, I did a bit of research and found a couple. In a cup competition last year for Roma in Serie A, he made 6 substitutions instead of 5. It was a game that they still lost, but had they of course progressed and went on to the next round of that same competition, they would have been disqualified anyway for breaking that rule of 5 subs instead of 6. This is also a man who fielded an illegible player in a league game for Roma last season. The game finished 0-0, but because they found out that he had fielded an ineligible player, Serie A ruled that Roma forfeit that game and that they lost 3-0 because of it. This is also the guy who Roma sacked, or they parted ways, whichever way you want to call it, at the end of last season, and was subsequently replaced by the former Tottenham manager, the man who he is in his own way succeeding in Jose Mourinho. So it's pretty much a straight swap between these two clubs for their former managers. I mean, come on, like, there's so many interesting layers to this story, but how on God's earth do you make 6 subs instead of 5? How do you miscount that badly? But on the other hand, look, we can't ignore the possibility that this could be a stroke of genius, that this could actually work out well for Spurs. We can't ignore that possibility. Maybe Fonseca comes in and builds something very similar to what Pochettino did. I don't think many people expected Pochettino to build something very good at Spurs, something to a point where they were a very good footballing side, but just lacked that little something to get them across the finish line towards winning silverware. Maybe this manager will recreate something very similar with a similar brand and style of nice and attacking football, very easy on the eye kind of thing. And, you know, let's face it, with the bar set so low by the Spurs fans upon hearing this news, maybe the only way that it can go from here is that he either meets them low expectations or maybe he exceeds them. That may be something that possibly works in his favour. I doubt it. I doubt he will exceed them. I think Spurs are, from my point of view and from my opinion, I think Spurs are in for an even longer period of time of mediocrity for the club. But, like I say, I can't ignore the fact that I could be proven wrong on this. We'll just have to wait and see, of course. Either way, there are still some unanswered questions at Spurs right now. The future that the club is going in, the financial situation and status of the club, and of course, the star man, Harry Kane. What about his future? Of course, he's right now away with England on international duty in the European Championships, of course. But his future still remains up in the air, and I'm sure Paulo Fonseca will be very keen to sort out his future in the very, very near future. But of course, we wait and see on all of these situations and all of these scenarios. But the bottom line here, as of right now, is that the breaking news today comes from Tottenham, comes from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it is that Paulo Fonseca is the new manager of Tottenham Hotspur. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this news that Paulo Fonseca is the new manager of Tottenham? Tottenham fans especially, I want to know your opinions on this. Is this a good appointment? Is this a bad appointment? Is this you're sort of in the middle? You can kind of see the good and the bad maybe, or maybe you're just waiting to actually give him a chance and you're slightly optimistic about the future of your club. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, down in the comment section below on this breaking news story. I'm sure they'll all make interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I will see you all again soon in another video.